Shemeshka yarn puppet.
Yes, the Shemeshka was me.
That's awesome. So,
Oh,
Maz,
sorry.
what kind of stuff do you do, Maz? Can you tell everybody?
It's all fiber arts that I do. I have been crocheting and knitting since I was about 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only really since I started playing D&D that I went a bit more out there with it.
And you've run some games online too, right?
Yes. Oh man, I have a lot of campaigns. A lot.
You do.
I do.
I've seen one. It was Hell's Bells.
Yes, with our own Annalise here,
Yes.
Ginger.
Mm.
Yeah. But I have regular campaigns in my homebrew world. 2 of those, and I also run 2 Curse of Strahd campaigns.
Really?
Yeah, really.
2? Really?
2. 2.
Oh,
I've also got a family game going with all my family.
yeah.
That was the first one that I DM'd. And I do drop-in one-shots at my local gaming club. It's gone down to once a month now. I've cut it down a bit.
Oh my god.
But
awesome.
yeah, I got a lot of campaigns that I run.
Yeah, so we were just going over the beginning of the show. We're trying to figure out, Omen appeared in Port Nyanzaru with a woman with a black staff. We were trying to figure out who that woman with the black staff was.
So she was the black staff of Port Nyanzaru. So there is a black staff of Waterdeep, and I would say it's a position, and the staff is symbolic of that position, and often I believe in Waterdeep the mage tower that they have is actually called Blackstaff Tower.
Right, that's right.
All right, cool.
Oh, all right. So she had that weird black staff, and she was able to actually rust somebody's sword with it. I think it was Paulton who stuck his sword out, and then she just waved the thing and rusted it. So yeah, in the beginning they went to Port Nyanzaru and they got meat pies or something, and then they met with Omen and whatever, and that's when the cops showed up, and there was a long kind of "you're under arrest" because we think you're the awful crew, the evil double types, which that went on. It was kind of like, it felt like, I don't know. It just felt like I wish it would have went a little faster, that part, because we ended up running out of time. I mean, what are you going to do? But it was like a big thing, And so they get arrested. Do you think there's a shop that sells waffles? Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Important, probably, right? The guards came in. Go ahead.
I don't mind so much that they took time on it, because the character interactions are really the core of what the show is. And having Diath finally meet with Omen, who has put the whole crew through so much hell with his constant summoning of Strix, and the whole deal with that Infernal Contract, I think that was something which had to happen, and it was delightful, that whole encounter.
All right, so yeah, so they went under arrest, and most of the show was once they were brought to the bridge, and that's when they saw the evil Waffle crew looking down at them with evil Evelyn, who I kind of love, and think is Evelyn, who's like freaking awesome, and that's when the fight broke out. Now, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think evil Evelyn was higher level than the rest of the awful clones. Is that correct?
It seemed that way. She took a lot more punishment than the rest of them did. Like,
I believe that's a new character that Anna has made, especially that she calls the Stranger, or she called last week. She called it the Stranger.
Really?
So it makes sense that it's of a higher level.
Someone had said the DC of one of her spells was a 17 or something like that.
Yes, it was quite high.
So she might have been like 10th level, just like the group. So
because I think a fight with 4 level 3s versus maybe even suboptimal level 9s would be really fast.
So Chris was in Burbank. Is that? you think there's some special thing going on, or was he just in Burbank?
I don't know.
It was like, well, because we're almost at the Tome of Foes release, and then there's some other. Supposedly, the rumors are, this is what I heard. I don't know if this is true. There's like 4 books coming out this year, one of which is like supposed to be a secret surprise. That sounds. Who knows if that's true or not, right? But if so, then they must have a lot of big plans. I was hoping they were going to do another Stream of Annihilation type event this year, but
Yeah,
I haven't heard.
I mean, they could still. I mean, the Stream of Annihilation was later on in the year last year, wasn't it?
Stream of Annihilation was around the end of May.
Okay, so not that much.
And if you look at Nathan Stewart's photoshopping, there is something he put all this background text on it, and there's things in the background. And one of the things is something about June the 1st, so there may be an event then.
Really?
Cool.
That's my birthday.
Oh, nice.
That would be awesome. So early on, once Diath found out that was Omen Dran, he was not happy, and he got right up in Omen's face, which I thought was pretty cool.
And Omen didn't really care.
Called him,
perfect.
Was it Dorth? He called him. Was that what it was? It was either Dorth or Dork.
Yeah, Dorth.
Yes.
Dorth.
Dorth.
Oh,
he lost his name.
Oh, and so when Strix got the message, it was in her hat. Is that right? I missed that part. What was that?
So the message fell out of her hat when she was wringing it out in the rain, and we can assume that there's some sort of mailbox spell that's been placed on her hat, which I like that little touch that Chris added in there.
Yeah, because that was the one that Viari gave her during the first.
Yes, the one with pockets in it.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Scotty, another question. What do you think Evelyn would have done with the Sun Sword? Try and sunder it in her hands? Yeah, because she's Shar, right? Yeah, Shar's the moon or something.
Shar is darkness.
Maybe she would.
She's the Lady of Darkness. And for those of you who don't know, a big player in the whole Sundering and Spell Plague saga of 4th edition.
Maybe she would have tried to turn into some kind of like night sword or something like that.
Ooh.
Let's see. What else was another comment? Any speculation on the origin of Evelyn of Shar? I don't know anything. Do you guys? You heard anything?
No, I don't.
If she's an agent of Shar, well, all right. Well, so Evelyn is Lathander, and Shar is like they're kind of opposites, right? So Evelyn was just blessed with this body. The new body, especially, right? It was Saint Andral, I think, who gave her the new body. Maybe Shar just decided to take that idea and run with it, maybe, or spying or something like that. Or I mean, what is Evelyn's mission? Like, what is her job? Does she have a job? Oh, we lost Shauna.
I'll be back.
All right, Shauna, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Skype hates us today.
Skype is not happy.
Really? Man, there you are. All right, good.
There we go.
Perhaps you might see some kind of plot involving the Church of Shar in the upcoming future, because this is a character which Anna had brainstormed with E.J. Benson, who is of Acquisitions Intoxicated, and also runs another game for Holly.
Oh, cool.
So he's another dungeon master, and if he's having some kind of input into this, then I think that we can see this storyline come up again in future. It's definitely not the last we've seen of the Church of Shar, especially now that we have we know the party has a possibly to be sainted Paladin of Lathander.
Kayla Klein, June 2nd is her birthday. Look at everybody. There's a lot of people who are born early June. Casey, Dorth had a lot to say to Omen, and Omen wasn't having anything. That's pretty much it. I don't know. Dorth is like, what, 6th, 7th level? Something like that? He's not. Or Omen is like lower level.
They're slightly right.
Omen and the Acquisitions Inc. crew are 9th level, I believe, unless something changed in the interim, the first episode we saw the Awful crew, they were level 3.
Mad Fartigan says, I anticipated Evelyn was gonna beat feet once the fight went sour for the Awful crew. I was surprised Nitluap Paulton was the last person standing. Yeah. That group bonded pretty quick, right? The Awful crew. They
sort of. I mean, the Paulton didn't seem to care that much, like the evil Paulton.
I mean, honestly, Awful Paulton was the most similar to regular Paulton. I think we'll definitely see him come back, possibly with the new clones, which the Hags are making, because remember, they have the parts now.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Oh, no.
So they can make more powerful versions. So what did you all think of the relationship that quickly blossomed between Evelyn and Diath? If I remember right, he touched the small of her back, right? And he kissed her or something.
They made out.
Did you see that? I think it's Pelham that does the captions on DCA, and he put even the ships are backwards.
Someone called it like the fastest ship or something in Dice Camera Action.
Yes.
I thought that was awesome. I thought they were really cool, and like once that happened, it was like I didn't want them to die. You know?
I did.
You did?
Need to die.
You did? Why?
I just wanted to see Omen get frustrated with everyone and just do that deadpan look into the camera like you're on The Office. If Chris Straub had to animate this as an Acquisitions Inc. opener, I believe that would be what would happen. You just see Omen swinging from the rope from the bridge, just looking straight into the camera.
Well, that's my theory.
What?
So did anyone see the interview with Todd Kenrick earlier? Chris Perkins talking about DCA the next season. So he said it's going in a different direction. The intro is animated, but it's different to what they've done before. And then I just had this thought when Omen was saying that he needs all of the crew, that what if Chris Straub has animated the intro and it's going to be like Acquisitions Inc. W team next season?
Wow. That might be it. Yeah, Omen did say at the end of the episode. He did, didn't he? So maybe they're going to go to Waterdeep, and they're going to be like a branch of Acquisitions Inc. or something? That would be pretty awesome. I would really like that. Chris Straub. That would be cool. I would hope that would happen, actually. That's freaking awesome. Did they say anything else in that interview?
He was just talking about how he puts the show together, how he writes arcs, and how he will discard most of his ideas and things like that. It was a pretty good interview. It's only about 10 minutes, so it's worth watching.
Yeah, I think he said something about wanting the characters to kind of push the narrative a little more in this next season. That seems interesting. See, like as far as where the characters want to go. So
I mean, I think that's going to be the case because for any D&D group, once you get to a high enough level, it becomes more character driven than it does driven by the setting or the campaign you're playing in. Like you'll of course tie up those loose ends, but then it all comes around to characters and resolving their own stories. I definitely think the characters are going to be heading to Waterdeep sometime, since that seems to be what they call home.
Yeah.
There was
something in the interview that I think that Chris brought up that was interesting. That was they would kind of like take the consequences of some of the actions that they did that kind of had no consequence initially, and they specifically brought up that the issue with Diath accidentally incinerating all of the people in the mountain
thing. Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, we've got. I think for this next season, we'll be leading into whatever the next arc is, but we don't know what that next published campaign is going to be yet, the next module. So I think it's going to be tying up a lot of loose ends like Iron Slag and Megara, Kaharik, who is still out there, Klauth, who's still out there, the Strahd puppet, maybe. There's a lot of loose ends and things which the crew haven't wrapped up, which is going to be interesting to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Maz, you said on that show there was a writer? They have writers? Is that what you said?
Oh, Helen, who's one of the was the co-staff who writes the white text in each of the episodes.
Oh, okay. All right. I think I had read something about some show like Acquisitions Inc. had actual like a plot idea.
Yes.
Kind of people.
Eric and Jerry write Acquisitions Inc. the plot.
Mm-hmm. It's still run
So
like a game though, right? It's
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eric is the one who Anna was talking to about and conferring with about Evelyn.
Mm-hmm.
Evelyn is freaking awesome. All right, million questions. Where are you? ID buddy. Even though they got creamed, there was still some good setup for that fight to go south fast. Who got creamed? To me, it was like the Waffle crew got kind of destroyed. What was that, Phantasmal Force?
It was the Fear?
Right?
Yeah.
Whatever that was. That like sent them all running, right?
It does running, but then like assuming that they're out of like eye line, they can come back, and it doesn't necessarily do any damage unless something special with Evelyn's like subclass I think did some damage.
Mm. They shipped quickly. Not sure if that is the same as bonding. True. Right. Scotty, what did you think of Omen's comment to Dieth? You talk like she's your girlfriend. I thought it was hilarious and reminded me of some TV shows I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's not the first time someone, that a guest said that. I think, was it Wumba said that?
Yes.
I think one of the episodes.
Yes.
Yeah. What? I was thinking about that. So, all right. Like, when on the show should that happen? That's what I was kind of thinking. Right? At this point. Because there's been like a lot of build-up. Now it's kind of like, when is that? When do you guys think an appropriate moment would be for Dieth and Strix to, whatever, commingle? I mean, what would that be? Is it after he's like the end of the campaign, do you think?
I don't think that Chris is going to let them be happy.
No? You don't think so?
No. No, of course not. It's Chris.
Maybe after the Lorcatha Skizix thing gets resolved, maybe that's when it would.
I think that all that build-up will definitely lead to something. Oh, of course, we need to mention that whole schism's going to be a huge part of next season, most likely, since that seems to be one of the huge dangling threads that we have right now.
Yeah, it's like huge. It's freaking.
They still got to keep Shemeshka as
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah, Shemeshka too. Yeah, that's a whole thing.
Started this episode with trying to get glasses back.
Mm-hmm.
And they got it back like that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
In like 5 minutes. I thought it was gonna be like a whole thing,
Yeah.
But they got it back like right away. Evil Paulton is Paulton without any ties to his party, without compassion or familial bonds. He's the most free. Are Evil Paulton and regular Paulton that different? That's my question.
No.
He looks like Strahd though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he's still out there. I don't know what would Evil Paulton do. What would he do after that? He's an agent of the Hags, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll probably see him again then if the Stone Sisters are still involved in the thing. I think it's kind of topic. Well, could one of the 4 books be an Eberron setting? Possible?
Interesting. Could be anything at this point. Really said.
I don't think it's likely to be Eberron. Eberron is its own thing, cut off from all the rest of the multiverse, and it would be hard for the crew to actually get there. We see there are little portals every now and again that let things out. That's why we see Warforged in places like Sigil. But I think it's not likely to be a main campaign book, not for the foreseeable future. Most likely, more Forgotten Realms, possibly Spelljammer, or most likely going to see something to do with Planescape in the future as well.
I think Spelljammer.
You do? Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Again, Nathan's text had Spelljammer the question mark. There's been a couple of other things that come up that have been pointing to Spelljammer, and the recent law you should know was on the GIF. The space hippos.
The hippo man.
No. The space hippos, and they are Spelljammer.
Oh,
Yeah.
but the Githyanki and the Githzerai are also Spelljammer and Planescape.
And if you've been playing Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, which I am addicted to, as I'm sure Annalise and Shauna are as well.
Yep.
The current event has some Githyanki and Githzerai, and there is an astral ship, which is Spelljammer.
Wow. That's awesome.
To me, the two settings are just so interconnected and intermingled because Spelljammer takes a lot of the concepts that were introduced in Planescape and just takes them to the next level, just out there, sci fantasy to the extreme.
So, Maz, okay, I would like to know, which setting do you think is going to be, and which setting do you want it to be?
See, I definitely think it's going to be Spelljammer, but don't quote me. But I would like to see a Planescape setting.
That's what you would like? Me too.
I'd like to see Planescape.
I want them to make a book where Tony DiTerlizzi does all the art, all of it. And it's just like a big, and it's just, the city, the whole thing, I guess, I don't know, an adventure or a source book. I don't even know. Maybe both if you can, like have a description of Sigil or whatever. And that's what I want to see. But I would freak out if they put out a Spelljammer book. I will freak out because that will be so cool. It's goofy, but there's a lot of really, really fun stuff in it. You guys have heard a lot more than I have about the new stuff. The only really comment I've heard about the future was that Holly said she did this. She and Anna did an interview on sci-fi.com, and one comment that Holly made was that the next season she's going to be like a fish out of water where they're going. And so that kind of threw me for a loop, because she used to live in Waterdeep, and she lived in Sigil or whatever. So it's like, what does that mean? Fish out of water. I couldn't figure that out. That was very weird.
I wonder if they're going to be going to any iconic Forgotten Realms locations, such as Baldur's Gate would be interesting, or even further to the south, somewhere like Arm, which people may know from the Baldur's Gate games.
After today's episode, the start of the Strix Diath ship would be hilarious. Oh, why are you trying to eat my face? Yes. Well, Strix says stuff like that. Is she not I don't understand. She never got it. Has Strix ever gotten a hug? She's gotten a hug before. We've seen it on the show, right?
She's adverse. She's adverse to physical touch unless very specific occasions. So she often would screech out, "Don't touch me," to Evelyn, even to Diath. It's not something she's used to, probably given her upbringing in the Hive and just how people have treated her as a tiefling in the past, being a very nervous character. I think that this was a big thing from Holly. It shows just how sort of resigned Strix feels and how she's giving up because she feels like she needs to fix her mistake because which is not inaccurate. She is partially responsible for the death of two of her compatriots. And I think that came across really well with just that single moment there.
Casey, I'm convinced Shemeshka is keeping tabs on the party, mostly Diath, through Gutter, and I worry about the party trying to find her true name or read her book while they're holding on to Gutter.
Absolutely.
Scry. She could scry anytime she wanted, right?
She has a scrying mirror. Yeah. She has a mirror she can scry on anyone she wants. That's how she gets half of her secrets and keeps tabs on people. She keeps tabs on people. She gathers information. It's what she do.
Sage of Sorcery has a question. What do you think the odds are of season 4 being a retirement season where they open a Waffle Hut? Do you guys want to see that?
I don't think that it's going to be a retirement season yet. They're far from done. I think the story's just starting.
Because I think what Chris said is that they're kind of like they're midway in like their adventuring kind of career. So I think this is the point where it's going to start possibly like getting a little more responsibility for them in dealing with stuff. So I think that's what we'll see it.
They're higher level, so it's going to probably ramp up and up and up.
Yeah.
Ooh, just out of the blue, Scotty Hood has an interesting theory. Maybe they might be going to Faye.
That would be weird.
Which I would find really interesting. If anyone knows either Sean's setting or any of the Pathfinder stuff, it would be most similar to Cheliax, I'd say. And it's where a lot of the famous necromancers and a lot of the famous liches originate.
That's interesting because a lot of the Red Wizards of Tay were in Tomb of Annihilation.
Yes.
There's a presence of them in the Lost City.
And there was Valindra Shadowmantle, who's a Red Wizard of Thay, who is also a lich, who appeared and also appeared in the Acquisitions Inc. Tomb of Annihilation.
And the one of the big epics for the Avengers League were focused on the Red Wizards and Saztam. It's interesting.
Do you mean, was this recent, one of these epics? Like during
I think it was the latest one for the Chult side, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe there will be some.
I'm sure that Merciful DM Lisa could shed some more light on that. If you want to go ask her, she might be able to give you when that adventure was. Maybe. Don't hound her.
Alrighty, buddy. Speaking of Gutter, do you think there will be something special that happens with Gutter if it drinks enough blood? Chris has brought it up every now and then. This time seemed like an odd note for it to speak. When it did speak.
I absolutely think that.
Yeah.
I've been thinking it for a while, and I think it's possible that maybe a certain type of blood, it might have an effect, or perhaps is more effective against fiendish or aberrations, or maybe tieflings.
Anybody freak out when Evil Dieth almost got his hands on Gutter for good?
Yes. I was more afraid of them taking the stuff, taking their items, and running than I was necessarily bringing them down.
Yeah. I would have been interested to see if Evil Dieth had gotten his hands on it, if he had tried to stab Strix, if there would have been any effect. Because I still have my theories about Gutter having more of an effect on the Lorcatha.
I don't know. That whole thing. I've been going through old summaries, trying to put together everything that is known, and it's like it's spread out over so many episodes. It's really hard to pull it all together. But when they went on the live show, the one where they did with Patrick Rothfuss, they met the dude apparently that was the mystery person who gave Dieth the keys, right?
Yeah, the Asima who gave him the keys when he was a child.
He took his helmet off, and to Dieth he looked like a human, but to Patrick Rothfuss' character, he was half human, half Aasimar, right? Which was like, and what was so crazy about that was like they just turned around and went back. Like there's all these interesting NPCs that had all this stuff to tell them, and they just got out of there like right away.
Oh, I mean, the Mercy Killers were to come back.
Yeah. It's like, wow, there's so much interesting here, but we also have to go back to get our bard.
Yeah. All right, what do we got here? Waiting for this depth. What is Pixel Scandal? What is DCA's Dice Camera Action? It's a Dungeons and Dragons online show run by Chris Perkins. Chris Perkins is like is Chris Perkins the best DM in the world? What do you guys think?
I think that's subjective.
Yeah.
I mean, some people could say that he is, but I think he's a very good DM and definitely brings together the action and the storytelling really well. I'd say he's one of the best storytelling DMs, in my opinion.
Maz, what do you think? Is Chris Perkins the best?
I
What? Uh-oh. What? What happened?
Yes. If I
Yes?
had to choose a DM, then yes, it would be Chris. I've learned everything I know about DMing from watching Chris. I would say, yeah, I agree with Annalise. He's the best storytelling DM. He can weave a story and hit beats and make you laugh, make you cry. I would say he's not good at necessarily strict with the rules. So if you're looking for someone that's like really good with the rules, Chris sort of bends them or ignores them or forgets them because he's focusing on story. So there are better DMs for rules, but for just an experience, then yeah, Chris Perkins absolutely up there.
You know what's weird about Go ahead.
Yeah, given all the twists he pulls from under his players, even in the Acquisitions Inc. games where he's notably kinder to his players.
What about you, Shauna?
Less cruel.
Yeah, I think he's I think he's the best all around like DM. Like he's showcases a lot of the different skills that DMs need, like the improvisation, the performance, and all that stuff really well. Like I think if I was going to show someone, what kind of like peak DM looks like, I think I would show what Chris Perkins, because so good at everything.
Maz, what do you think a good what are the qualities of a good DM, Maz? What do you think is most important?
Well, I think that's where Chris definitely demonstrates that he's a good DM. It's making sure your players are having fun, and just sometimes just sitting back and letting them do their thing. I've learned to just not talk sometimes.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time not talking and letting my players just run away with the story, do their RP, do their interaction, and then you just guide them gently when it's time to get on with something.
Do you have a hard time keeping quiet, or are you okay? Are you able to let them do their thing?
Oh, I let my players do their thing.
You do?
I speak a lot about my Tuesday group, and they are, I think all of them are chaotic neutral.
Really? The whole party?
I have to check their alignments. I think they all are. And it is literally chaos. The recent Awful Crew episode where the Poultin just sits in the restaurant while everyone else is fighting reminded me of one of my games. I'd set up this encounter in a mansion, and I have a party of 7. 5 of them went. The other 2 just walked off and had mimosas. Like, seriously. They're just like, and I'm doing through the initiative, and I'm getting through to them. I'm like, you still drinking your mimosa? Yeah, okay, good. Next person.
How long are your sessions, Maz? Like how?
I'm pretty strict. I keep them about 2 hours. I'm having a month off at the moment because I've been running these games for about 8 or 9 months, and I take a week off every month, and then I'm keep the sessions to 2 hours because I don't want to burn out, and I want the games to be fun, and I want to because I run so many, I have to be quite strict on how much I do in each particular game.
So you do a 2-hour session, but because I do 2-hour sessions, but I get panicky when like we're not getting anything done, and so that kind of makes me cut them off. But you don't have that. You're able to keep it flowing, and it's good.
I'm not usually, because it's private games, I'm not streaming. I just let them do their thing. They know there's a time limit, but the story is theirs. I'm just there to put some arcs in and twists and intrigue, but anything they want to do in the moment is theirs.
The only other big-time DM I can think of is Matt Mercer. How would you all compare? How would you all compare Matt Mercer to Chris Perkins? Like, does Matt Mercer do anything better than Chris Perkins?
I say he, not necessarily better, but different. He has a certain way of very descriptive way of describing his battles and just describing the attacks and actions of his players, and he's very much painting a picture with his words. And that's different to Chris, I find. I think that Chris is definitely the best entry level DM.
Mm.
You'll always know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst with Matt, sometimes you can get a bit lost in the moment. So I think that I know a lot of people have started their D&D adventure with Critical Role, but I think that for someone starting out, DCA might be a better entry point, or even Acquisitions Incorporated.
What do you think, Shauna?
Yeah, I think Matt Mercer has a more kind of, it's a very, especially with it about, it's very like performative, it's to like amp up, like it gets quite dramatic. But I think Chris is a lot like a magician. Like I can kind of see him. He does the kind of like going with the flow and kind of like making changes like so effortlessly, and it's covered so well, and it's.
Yeah, Maz, what do you think, Matt Mercer?
I cannot comment on Matt Mercer's DMing, I'm afraid. I have tried to watch Critical Role a couple of times, but it's just not a group that I can gel with and get on with. I watch a lot of other different streams. I mean, all the people that like Critical Role enjoy it. You know, everyone likes different DMs, likes different styles. I've tried several times. I'd love to be able to get into it, and I just can't. So,
I mean, you've watched the C Team, so you can at least comment on Jerry's DMing.
Yeah, how's
Jerry? Jerry's DMing is, it's very role play heavy, very very role play heavy. They have lots of sessions without combat. His NPCs are really strong and memorable, and it's storytelling. You feel like it's Jerry's novel, but it's also the player's novel at the same time. It's really bizarre. He's got a very strong vision, and he's really evocative with his scenes, and his ideas are incredible. But you never feel like the characters are being railroaded in any way at all.
Really?
Even though he's got a story to get out there. You feel that the players are definitely integral to what's going on, and it's just as much their story as his. It's a very different style to Chris, but it's a very good and interesting style, and I've learned from that as well.
I watched, I think the first episode, and the thing that struck me about, they were all so funny. I don't know if it's like that all the way through, but like, they were hilarious. The whole group was freaking hilarious. It was just like, it blew me away. Like, it was an awesome. I just don't have the time. You just don't have the time.
It's hard, yeah.
But it's weird. We're in this weird time. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Val. Or at least I'm calling you Val.
I mean, hey, I don't mind if my characters are known. Then
I call people by their character names. Yeah.
I think that the C Team is also a very interesting group because you've got like 2 good alignment characters and then 2 neutral alignment characters, and as a group, even their paladin is incredibly different to how, say, Anna plays Evelyn, and it's playing off sometimes archetypes or giving them a new spin, like with Rosie, the badass grandmother, who has like many both real and fostered children around the world, and takes the team under her wing, but you also don't want to cross her. You've got like Walnut, who plays as a druid very differently. It's not incredibly hippie, but more militant in her approach, and has a very interesting story. I think there's a lot of things that people can learn from different D&D games, and especially in this whole Perkins-verse world where like we've got Acquisitions Inc., C Team, Waffle Crew, which are all interconnected, and I guess Force Grey as well, though I haven't actually watched it. I know that they had something to do with killing Omen's sisters.
Wow.
And I just think there's so much that people can learn from having an internet-connected world.
Oops, Shauna, we lost you again.
Oh, Jesus.
You should be back in a sec. All right.
Let's keep going.
I think I've brought my camera gremlin, haven't I?
Oh, Skype, you're working so well.
Scotty says
there we go.
Perkins is the king of short session DMing. So that was something that I don't know if you guys noticed this tonight. They're doing the fight, and it's happening fast. and I guess there was some rules calls that were off or something. Like the
Hmm.
bridge was 40 feet up and somebody only had a range of 30. I think
Yeah.
there was a series of
I
things
guess
like that, and some people were like starting to complain about that. And to me, that was like, it's a short session. You got to choose, because
Hmm.
yeah.
if you got to stop to look everything up, it's so boring to watch. And what's crazy about it is Chris Perkins like helped write the rule book, right? So to me, it's
Hmm.
like if he doesn't know all the rules, then it makes me feel so much better
Hmm.
about
Mm.
my game, because if the
Mm.
guy who's running it, who wrote the book, can't keep it all in his head, then it's like, oh, okay, well, we're all in
And
the same
I
boat.
think
I don't feel so bad.
I've definitely commented on this before. I think even last episode.
Mhm.
I'm not on with the volume of backseat DMing that chat has. I think there's a level of respect that needs to be there, because Chris, he writes these books.
Mhm.
He knows the rules. If he chooses to forget something for the sake of time or expediency or whatever, that's his choice.
Mhm.
Like there's sometimes he will get the rules wrong, and there's a difference there.
Mhm.
Such as if he says one thing but it's actually different,
Mhm.
that's okay. But things like heights or things like that, which has been what the past few problems have been, I think you have to have some amount of patience or just
Mhm.
ignore it, because it's not going to be important in the plot or in the grand scheme of things. Getting a spell wrong or having it have a different effect to what it would, yes, that's more important. Heights are not. Come on, people. You have to respect the DM and respect the players. You are there to help as well, but you're still just a you're part of the audience. You're not a participant.
Yeah, I think that's part of the thing with the difference between like a table game and what's happening with DCA and like games like this, is that they're like primarily entertainment shows, and if you break the flow of like a combat or some RP for minute like distance reasons, it brings it to a halt and it's not as fun, and it kind of like brings it down a little bit. But yeah, like it's certain like things you have to make for having it be like the type of show that it is.
What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I don't know about you DM on stream, and I've DM'd on stream as well. And it's a very, very different thing to DMing privately. And you've got to make calls to keep that stream going, that flow going, I think.
Yeah. I dread the idea of people going in, watching a game I run, and heckling me. I would hate that so much, you know?
Backseat DMing is just horrible. And
Yeah.
I think DCA is a good example of selectively using rules to make a story good, because that's what D&D is all about. If you're a rules lawyer, go and find a game that you can rules lawyer in and play that game. DCA is a game about the role play, the character interactions, and the story, because it's for an audience.
Exactly. And definitely agreeing with Lightning Fast, Dan. DMing on stream is extremely hard, because you have to both DM a game and also you're performing. It's still like theater.
And you're running the stream, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
DMing is
extremely
already a lot of
difficult.
multitasking, and then on top of that, you've got that audience, all that other stuff. So, like, to me, because Chris Perkins is like a big deal. So to me, it's like when you see people criticize him, it's like, to me, it's like, who do you think I get like offended. But also, if you watch Critical Role, they're huge, right? And now Dice Camera Action is getting bigger. Critical Role has all of that. There's a lot of.
I mean,
it's a lot more aggressive.
And I think it's just gonna happen.
Far more aggressive.
As DCA gets bigger, I think you're just gonna get. That's just gonna happen.
I think that's something that's perhaps the chat will need to moderate a bit more. And I think every Dice Camera Action fan should sort of, if they are participating in the chat, sort of check themselves and just make sure that they're being respectful to the DM and to the players and to the rest of the chat. They're not being aggressive, and they're being friendly and trying to exemplify the values that our community is built on.
I think you could be
We don't want,
you can
be constructive.
Yeah, be constructive. Just point out, oh, especially if it helps a character, right? That's happened quite a bit on the show where people jump in and they go, wait, no, she's not down. She has blah blah blah. And like that's really cool, So I think those people who are complaining can use their power for good instead of evil. You know what I mean? And like just because for me as a fan, like if I'm watching the chat and I start to see that, like it makes me not want to look at the chat. Because
I don't even have chat open when I watch DCA live. I close it straight away.
Yeah.
I won't have chat open.
It's a bummer because there's so much. People are very funny. They say a lot of really good stuff, and people say things that are like, ooh, But it's just that
I can't focus on both. I have to be watching either the show or the chat. I can't do both.
Yeah, same. I can't.
Especially,
I can't.
It goes by so fast nowadays. I remember people used to be able to have conversations in chat back during the episode 20s, and now we got to almost 2,500 viewers today.
Yes.
So that was incredible. It's growing incredibly quickly because of the characters. Just don't forget that the show is about the characters. It's not about whatever module they're playing. And that's what makes it different.
We got questions from Maz.
Maz,
what would you consider to have been the hardest lesson to learn when writing your first adventure?
Oh, first adventure full stop or first published?
Doesn't say.
Because if you mean published as in putting on DM's Guild, confidence to actually publish it.
Yeah.
So many people don't publish on DM's Guild because they are scared.
Really?
They think their work's not good enough. I hear it a lot. A lot of people have come to me and said, thank you for saying this is your first thing or your second thing and, going for it and then encouraging other people because they're just too scared to do it. And you've just got to do it. You just got to put it out there and people might really like it. I was really surprised if people downloaded my first adventure. It was pay what you want. They paid for it. So I put my second one up and had it as, paid because it was my time, my work going into it. And people bought that as well. And I was just like, I can actually write adventures. This is quite cool.
That's awesome.
So it's just having the confidence to believe in your work.
If
you're not confident before about putting it up, play test it. Test it out with your players, get other people to run it for you, get friends to run it for you and give you feedback. I do that with mine as well.
Can you say what your two adventures are? What they're about?
My two adventures. So they are both games that I played with the Sleigh Bells. So you can find them on my YouTube channel. The first one was Christmas Fae. And the second one is Cupid a Rose.
And those were both for festivities and times of the year, weren't they?
Yeah, Christmas and Valentine's. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to coordinate schedules to do an Easter adventure or anything else yet, so I need to look at writing another themed one at some point.
So you've done Valentine's and you've done Christmas.
Yeah.
So were you gonna do New Year's? Would you do a New Year's one?
I might do like some sort of crazy summer holiday beach adventure for the summer. Definitely Halloween.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, definitely need a Halloween one.
Yeah.
That sounds really awesome.
Yeah.
I like the idea of playing a summer adventure while I'm going to be freezing cold in winter. So.
All right. So there's a bunch of Maz questions.
Future
projects. Everyone, get your questions.
Casey.
Get your questions in for our amazing guest, please.
Casey,
officially.
What projects are you working on now? Future projects. Got anything going?
Oh, yes. I think it's in the lightbox. I was photographing it. I just literally finished something that I'm going to be starting a competition for a bit later.
Really?
So that's quite exciting.
So would you tell people to keep an eye on your Twitter for that?
I would tell people to keep an eye on my Twitter for that, definitely. I'm kind of just in between things at the moment. I've just finished a present for a friend, and after I do a big project like the Shemeshka, I kind of try and wind down a bit, clear my workspace, and then think of the next big thing. So the next big thing is probably Kayla Klein's original character, Pentar. I've been promising her for months that I would make this, so that's going to be the next thing I'll do.
It's awesome. How long does it? So you made the Shemeshka.
Mm.
How long did that take?
I actually ended up. I was ill whilst making it, so it took me longer than it should have done.
Mm-hmm.
And it ran. I agreed a budget with the person, so I didn't sort of like go over their budget.
Mm-hmm.
That took maybe. We're looking at. Most of the dolls take at least 10 hours, and then however long it takes to dress it on top. So the Strix I made for Holly took weeks of work.
Really?
I put so much into it because I made all of the inventory.
Mm-hmm.
The Shemeshka was simpler, so that probably 20 hours
It's awesome.
in that. So it's a lot of work.
The Shemeshka has like the cigarette holder.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That is amazing how you do that. Like boggles my mind. Maz, can you tell us? All right. Do you have any DCA related fiber art that you want to create at some point?
I've done the big one that I did want to do. I've still got it here, which I need to actually send off.
Mm-hmm.
Is my I love this little guy.
Nice.
My Simon.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I actually intend to send him to Nate at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But it's getting around to getting that off to him. I've also got like the I made the sweater that Rosie knitted in the Christmas swap.
Really?
I don't know where that's gone. It's over here. I don't know. Oh, there's his little hat, his Strix hat. So he's got all the stuff.
That is
There's
awesome.
a little fez that he stole off the monkey
Oh.
somewhere, and there's the So I need to send all that to Nate.
So we did a contest on Twitter.
You did.
Yes.
The winner gets the Lim Lim made by
Oh, it's so cute.
Maz.
Oh, it's
There's
cute.
Lim Lim.
So
Don't kick the Lim Lim.
So
Yeah, I had a little read through earlier. I'll just quickly check Twitter to make sure there's no new entries.
all right, and we're gonna.
There shouldn't have been.
Oh,
So
I'm
what
happy
we
with
did
it.
was we did a couple of dad joke contests, and the best dad joke wins, and there was a lot. A lot of them were really, really good. I thought they were really freaking awesome.
Some of them were absolutely amazing, and I was really, really torn between two of them. So I'm just going to call this up now to make sure I get the names right.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the ogre pun thread more, I think. And I want to give an honourable mention to Acquisition Inc. Rhymes for the amazing Sisyphus pun. That was just so many levels, and I'm going to reach out to you and organise something personally because I loved it so much.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual winner of the contest,
Mm-hmm.
I very much enjoyed the little bit of back and forth that you had with Eric Jensen, Daydream Tiger 1.
Oh wow, Eric Jensen.
There was some amazing rock puns in there.
Yeah, he was
Yes.
on fire.
Good.
It was really good. So, Eric, I'm going to message you after the show, and you win the Lim Lim.
Ah, hey,
Awesome.
congratulations.
Freaking awesome. Congratulations, Eric. And thank you, everybody, for responding. There was a lot of really
It was-
Yeah,
it was good. It was good
great.
stuff.
It was good to read them all.
It was like 24 hours of it's like there's a horrible stand-up comedian who won't leave your house. That's what it was like.
Mhm.
Can you imagine what living with me is like?
Is that all right. What else? All right. I want to make sure I took some notes here. We're pretty much out of time, but
Mhm.
I guess I just want to hear everybody's overall thoughts on this episode and the season. Okay. So Annalise, what'd you think of this episode and the season?
I really liked this episode. I
Mhm.
was happy to have Omen there from the start, and I think it was just the culmination of a few things which have been bubbling away for either a few episodes or for a little while. I think that it's going to lead to a very strong opener for next season. I think this season had a lot of very, very strong episodes. I think my favorite was still the Nightmare episode because just so much was revealed.
Shauna, what do you think?
Yeah, I like this episode. It was it was a lot more lighthearted than I expected it to be, and I loved having Owen in there. I think he brought a lot to the episode, and it was really enjoyable. As far as the season, it was an interesting season. It seemed like this was the Waffle Crew's kind of like getting over the hump of kind of like what happened to them, the stuff that happened at the end of season 2, and it's been kind of like the season kind of wrestling with the kind of like insecurities and issues that they brought up. So I'm excited to see where that goes next season.
Maz, what'd you think of this episode and the entire season 3?
I always love Jerry's Omen. I love Acquisitions Inc. the A team as it is. I love watching their games. So it was really nice to have that bonus Omen. I just love the way Jerry plays him, how he's always like on brand the whole time. He's on brand. The season itself, it was dark. It was really dark. So I really appreciated the light-hearted moments in it, like where they were chasing death around the little thing, and then Paulton was just like having the face-off with literal death. That I really enjoyed that part of that episode because it was just a nice bit of humour to balance all the darkness that we've had all season. So I'm looking forward to something lighter next season, definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, I thought this episode was pretty good. I love the idea of the evil Waffle Crew, so I thought that was really cool. And it was weird. I've never seen a game where people play both the characters on either side of the combat. That was so weird, right? It worked fine. He always does those weird experiments like that, you know. So as far as the season, the one that I really liked sticks out is the one actually Annalise did that really awesome painting of where Strix gets sucked into the blood pool with the Lady of Pain face on it. And Diaz dives in after. I love that episode. I love anything that involves Evelyn trying to fight Dendar all by herself. I love that. That's so awesome. So I thought this was a good season. I don't know. I think next season's gonna be freaking awesome. So and the show just keeps getting bigger, and it's just like things are going like D&D is just like I don't want to jinx it, but it's kind of just like a little bit bigger, So it's just like it's really fun. It's a really fun time in D&D. Hopefully we won't get jaded after. That's what I'm hoping that like we don't look back on this time as that was when it was really. I hope it stays awesome, and it has for the first few years. So hopefully everything just stays like positive and and just fun and exciting, and everybody's we're all doing it together. So let's do some plugs before we go. Annalise, do you have any plugs for us?
Yes, so the Dice Camera Zine project is well underway. You can follow all the progress on that at Dice Camera Zine on Twitter. So that's Dice Camera and Zine, so ZINE, for all the updates as well as previews from the artists and creators. So we've got lots of submissions being sent in at the moment because the deadline is just coming up now. And we'll have more information on when that's releasing very soon.
Shauna?
Yes, I'm in Sean's Power Square's Tomb of Annihilation game, where we have fought 2 of the hardest fights in there, and it has been extremely stressful. So if you want to see what those look like, you should check out the YouTube or the Twitch VODs for that. But in addition, I'm also doing a Tomb of Horrors game with the Greyhawk channel on Fridays at 8:30. So more Tomb stuff than so much Tomb stuff. Serac is my enemy.
Maz, got any plugs?
Oh well, just before we came on air, my very good friend and all-around incredible person, Lisa Chen, you know her as Merciful DM, gave me a heads up that my Baby Beholder costume was featured on Nerdist.
Yes.
Awesome.
They did a little article. That tweet has just exploded that Will did. It was amazing. And I am not, a parental type. Children are okay away from me. Keep over there somewhere. But Rocks, the pictures of Rocks are just so adorable that I can see how it's just gone crazy. But so if you want to commission me for non-IP things, I'm trying to get to Seattle this year. I want to go to PAX West, so commission me, please. I'm on Twitter at Mazzmatazz. My website is mazzmatazz.co.uk, because in case you haven't guessed from my accent, I'm in England. Yeah, it's 3:30 in the morning here. Hello.
Oh, wow.
I stay up all night, don't worry, Sean. My YouTube, if you want to catch my games, is also Mazzmatazz. The 2 Sleigh Bell games are up there, as well as some of the things that I make, I sometimes stream. On DM's Guild, Marissa Tamain, if you look up my name for my 2 adventures, Cupid's A Rose and Christmas Fae. I don't go on Facebook much, so I'm not that bothered about that. I have an Etsy as well, Mazzmatazz. Everything is Mazzmatazz, okay? So that's how you find me.
That Nerdist thing, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got I'm doing in the Greyhawk channel tomorrow at 1. I'll be doing Mordenkainen's Path of the Plains. Thursday, this will re-air on the D&D channel. Next week, we're talking. I don't know. We might do a Waffle Talk next week, even though there's no dice camera action. Not positive yet. So stay tuned to the Waffle Talk official Twitter. That's Waffle Talk DCA on Twitter. Friday, I have nothing. And then Saturday, I'll do Tomb. Sunday, I'll do Dungeon Academy. And I'm working on a super secret dice camera action project, which hopefully I'll be able to talk about in a week or two, which I think dice camera action fans are really going to like. So I want to thank everybody for watching. I hope you liked Season 3 and are looking forward to Season 4, which starts in 2 weeks. And thanks again, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me on the show, Sean.
Oh, thank you for
Thanks
coming
Mazz.
very, very much.